I have good news for you. PixInsight is easy. If you heard or read somewhere that PixInsight is as difficult as quantum physics, or in fact astrophotography, let me prove you otherwise. Go and download the test version right now. Here's the link. And then we meet on the other side of the trailer and we will process our first image in only 10 steps. Hey, this is View into Space. I'm Sascha from Switzerland, so grüezi miteinander, and thanks for watching my channel. Let's get right to it.
Okay, and here we are in PixInsight. First we have to agree on a few assumptions. I would assume that you have practically never been in PixInsight, and I would assume that you have a stacked picture ready, be it from Deep Space Stacker, from AstroPixel Processor, here in PixInsight, but just that you have already stacked a picture. And this is what we're going to now to open. I go to Open Recent, or you can just go to Open and open the picture. Okay, and here it is. PixInsight accepts a lot of formats, be it TIFF, be it FITS, it really doesn't matter. Now let's have a look around here. First of all, we have this strange windows with a lot of code and text, and that's probably why people think that PixInsight is so difficult. But this is just a joke, a gimmick. It shows you the things, the processes that PixInsight does, but you don't even have to look at it. So just ignore it. Next, we have your picture. And your picture is, as you can see, pitch black. That is because it is at the moment linear or unstretched. So it means it contains from the darkest darks to the lightest lights, everything. And the midtone is set right in the middle. Now, obviously, because Astro Picture are much more on the dark side, it looks like there's nothing on it. And that's why the first button you always need to press is this here. It looks like a radioactive symbol. If you press it, wow, okay, there's really something in there. It's, by the way, the Eagle Nebula, and that's what we want to work at. So all we did at the moment is we actually shifted the midtones so that we actually see something, but we haven't changed anything in the picture yet. So all the information that is contained in the picture, it's still there. So now let's start working on it. First we can enlarge it a little bit. You see only the window gets bigger, the picture stays the same. And as you can see in the corners, we have these imperfections, which happen sometime when you stack. So we have to get rid of that. So we go now to the first of the 10 processes we will use. So we go up here to Process, and you see a million of menus. Now I usually don't care about these menus, they just confuse me. I just go to all processes and in here you find all the available processes in alphabetical order. That's much easier. So what we need is DynamicCrop. Here it is. So that's something else that confuses a lot of people, because if you look at it, there's a million of stuff which you can change. Wow, how should you ever know what to choose here? You know what? Forget about it. Forget about all of it. All you need to know is down here, these few buttons. And just look at the last one here. That's a reset button. That's always a good button to press at the start. It resets everything to default for this process. And you see we have now the cropped picture borders right outside of the picture as it should be. And cropping here is nothing else than in any other software. So you go to the borders, you shift it inside as much as you want. You do the same on this side. You do the same on this side. Okay. And when you're done here, you do the most intuitive thing that you can. You press here the green hook, execute. It also tells it, tuck, and it's happened. And we have it cropped. First of the 10 processes gone. You can close it, done and dusted. So now we want to get rid of all the light pollution that we have in the background. For that we go to our second process. So we go up again to Process, All Process. And what we find here is the automatic background extractor. So here you have to do one thing before you execute it. You go to Target Image Correction, and you tell the correction to be a subtraction. Once you have done that, you click here the square, which says Apply. It calculates through it, and it gives you two pictures back. One is again the Eagle Nebula. You see you have to stretch it again with the radioactive symbol here. And the other one is more for information. a map of what it has extracted. And you see all the stuff that it found that it extracted. We can close that. We don't need it anymore. And we also can close our original window. We will not need it anymore. Done. We can also close the background extraction. And we're already one step further, and it looks already nicer. So another thing we can do to even more improve the background is the background neutralization. So we look now for that. All processes, background neutralization. Here you go. Leave everything unchanged, just press apply. And it's done. Doesn't do a lot of changes, but it also helps. Sometimes there's also a little bit of green inside, which we don't want. That's just because our one-shot color camera actually emphasizes on the green. For that, we look for another process. We find it on the bottom here. It's called SCNR. Open it, press the box, and you might realize that it now shifted a little bit more on the red side. And it's done. And now the next one is the most complex process that you will do, but it's also by far the coolest that PixInsight has to offer. And you will find it under PhotometricColorCalibration. Now here, unfortunately, you have to do some things, but you will see it's worth it. So the first thing you do is you go into search coordinates. A window opens, and now you actually enter the object that this is depicting. So this is M16. Search for it, it finds it, and I say get. Done, I have my coordinates. The next thing I have to do, I have to tell when I recorded this picture. Sometimes, depending on the stacker, this information is preserved, sometimes not. If you use app like I use, AstroPixel processor, then it's not preserved. So I have to enter this was actually recorded on the 11th of June, somewhere in the middle of the night. So let's say 2 o'clock in the morning. This doesn't have to be so exact, but just approximately. Then I have to enter the focal length of my scope and the pixel size of your camera. If you do not know that, just look at the manufacturer side and you will find this information. Once I have all that, as before, I just click the square and just wait what's happening. Okay, and it's done. It's quite a lengthy process, takes a few minutes, but you can close this here, it's not relevant. You can also close this window, but look at the difference. Wow. So the photometric color correction really looks at every star and compares it with the color that it actually should have in reality and adjusts that. So we already now in a half time. 5 processes are done, 5 more to go. The next thing we want to do, we want to get rid of a little bit of the noise that's still around. For that we choose another process. It's right on top, ACDNR. This is a denoising process. All you have to do is press here the lightness mask. Once you have done that, again, just press the box and let PixInsight do the magic. And it's done. Great. Okay, the image looks great, but it does not really look great because how it really looks like is still like this. This is still the picture. So now we have to really stretch it for good. For that, we actually use 2 processes at the same time, which have both to open. The first one is the ScreenTransferFunction, and the second one is the HistogramTransformation. Again, everything looks much more complex than it is. So what you do is, you click on the ScreenTransferFunction on the radioactive sign. Okay, here we have the picture, and this is how we want to have it now. So now you take the little triangle and drag and drop it on the HistogramTransformation. Let it go. Done. And now you press here in the HistogramTransformation, the square box. Don't be scared. It looks completely white now. But now what you're doing is you go up here and click here, the screen with the red box. And done. Okay, you can close both of them. So this is now the stretched image. Now it's non-linear. And now we can proceed with the stuff we do with a non-linear picture. And there's just 2 things left. The first thing is we can still get a little bit more out of it by stretching it a little bit further and modifying the curve. I'm mentioning curve, that's exactly what we need. we need the curve transformation. And if you have used any picture editing software, you should be quite familiar with the curve. So just click here the reset button, and now click this little circle. What it gives you is a preview. I actually will make this a little bit smaller. Good. Okay, and now you can actually start working with the curve. So just play with it. Yeah, let's have here a little bit more light in the center. Here too. Be careful with it. You get a little bit more dark. Okay. You can always switch on and off the preview and see how it looked like and how it will look like now. So that looks much better. When you're happy, just press again the square button and it's applied. Don't be scared, it looks now completely different. Here this is like if you would like double the whole thing, but that's not what we want. We just go back here to reset. So now they're both the same again. So what we can also look at, if you go now to S, that stands for saturation. And if you want to boost the colors a little bit, just put the whole curve a little bit up and we will get a little bit more intense colors. So again, square button and that's done. Okay, we can close the preview. We can close the curve. Nice. The last thing we want to do before we finish is sharpen the whole thing a little bit. So we go again to Process. We go to Unsharp Mask. Okay, so here we have Unsharp Mask. Again, click this ring so that you have a preview and see what happens in the default setting. So just click it on and off. I want to have a little bit more. So you go here, just up the sharpness, much better. Now the stars really pop. If you like it, again, just press the square button. This is our final image. We are now going File, Save As, and just save it as a TIFF or whatever you want.
Now this is our final picture. Now is it fantastic, amazing? Couldn't it be better? No, not at all. But is it solid? Absolutely. Now what I mean with that is, you only scratched at the surface of PixInsight. You just chose 10 steps, didn't alter them at all, and you got to this result. Now imagine what's possible when you use PixInsight to the full extent. So I hope I was able to convince you that PixInsight is an amazing processing tool and that you will utilize it further in the future. If you like this video, please press the subscribe button and give me a thumbs up. See you next time and clear skies.